Good evening and welcome to the City of Joliet Pre-Council meeting for today, Monday, December 18th, 2023, with the Honorable Mayor Terry Darcy presiding.
We'll begin with roll call. Mayor Darcy.
Here.
Councilman Cardenas.
Here.
Councilman Clement.
Here.
Councilman Guerrero.
Here.
Councilman Hug.
Here.
Councilwoman Ibarra.
Here.
Councilman Mudrin.
Here.
Councilwoman Quillman. Here. Councilwoman Reardon.
Here.
First tonight is citizens to be heard on agenda items. Abraham Garcia regarding Council Memo 697-23.
I had some printouts, if I can hand them out.
Here, I'll pass them down for you. You had at least 10.
I'll share it. Put all the same. Yeah, all the same. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
The first sheet I just stapled, I know it's not the best picture, I apologize. That's what the property used to look like, and it's 1101 North Broadway, when we first acquired it some years back. It was basically a junkyard. Then the second page on top of it is what we proposed for a used car dealership. And the reason for the used car dealership, the place is leased now, but it's a short-term lease. And I kind of wanted someone that can be a long-term lease, that I can hold them accountable, such as organization, having limited cars there. And I also want to state that I respect planning and zoning greatly. I feel that they're doing their job. You know, this is not a bash on planning and zoning meeting. I understand. It's just that I got to fend for my interests as well. But planning and zoning told me, hey, the lot is just too small, for 20 cars. So I said, all right, fine. Could we do 15 cars? Hey, nah, it's still too small. Well, can we do 10 cars? And then I was kind of told, like, well, if it's 10 cars, well, how successful the dealer going to be? But I think that should be up to the person putting the dealership there, not other people. But so I went around town because I happened to be blessed enough to be healthy enough to run a business in Joliet. And so I also own a property on Collins. And there happens to be dealerships, and I happen to have eyes, so I see things. And Gonzalez Auto is the first dealer closest to 1101 Broadway. And they have, I think, 10 cars at most, or 11 cars to be sold at once. And when I'm doing my due diligence on curbing and all that, if they have customer parking, I feel like they do. But I do feel like the spacing there is also very tight. Those are the first 3 photos, 4. After that, there's another dealership by Collins. It's called Figueroa. The square footage is almost the same. And as you can see, so he could squeeze more space, he parks the vehicles that he's selling on top of the curb or the landscaping. But there's no customer parking. It's only one entrance. 1101 Broadway happens to have the luxury, the entrance from Broadway, and it's I believe it's 30 feet. I believe it's a 30 feet entrance. If not, it's at least 24. And then also you have Hutchins on the side. And ever since I had 1101 Broadway, we never impeded traffic, which that was the first big worry we had when Mr. Garcia moved into town to sell tires in Joliet. We never impede traffic, and if we do, we don't do it nowhere near the amount that a lot of other businesses do. And I don't want to get into well, look at that and look at this and look at that and look at this. I'm looking for a long-term tenant that I can hold accountable. Currently, the tenant's in there now. He's on a month-to-month basis. So I have to keep a closer eye on him to make sure he's not storing parts in the rear Before this tenant, we did have another tenant. We had to move him out. I think it was Gorilla Auto Repair. He's now on Route 30. A hoarder, hoarding parts, axles in the rear of the property. We told him that wasn't, you can't do that. So he found a space that allows him to do that. So I'm just asking for some help, and if you guys can approve it, I appreciate it. You see that at least, 10 to 15 cars fit on there easily. I did a count on there before because they're authorized to repair vehicles on there today. And there were 17 cars on there and still with plenty of space. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Real quick, I'm limited on time here today. Where's the neighborhood council at on this proposal?
He's up next to speak.
I'm sorry?
He's
Oh,
ready
you're,
to speak.
okay.
Oh, he's here. Yeah. But I think I have their support. All right.
Thank you.
thank you.
John Sheridan, Council Memo 697-23.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council. Here tonight is President of Cunningham Neighborhood Council. Unfortunately, we had the same problem 3 years ago. And the council did not accept the Planning Commission's suggestion of not putting in the tire repair business for semi-tractors, not the trailers, but the tractor. So fortunately for him, he got a new business on Collins Street, much larger, everything worked out well. The problem is down there, nobody is complaining about the parking on the side streets with the landscaping company with their truck and trailer in a box truck. Nobody's calling on that. But yet, certain individuals want to give this gentleman, quality individual, quality neighbor, quality community man, a hard time every time he tries to do something on that piece of blacktop. We are not against it in the Cunningham area. We want that thing taken care of. Nobody talked about the restaurant at Hutchins and Hickory that's busy on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday and got the streets blocked. God bless them, they got a good business going. Wish them a lot of success. The people complaining about this live 7 blocks away. 7 blocks away from that location, have no business complaining about it. And as he spoke about this a minute ago, there's no rules on the amount of cars he can repair right now. So it's kind of crazy that you allow him to work on 20, 30 cars and then say, well, if you want to sell cars, you can only do 10. I think that's kind of ludicrous. It's kind of a double standard there. And also the same market, like I said, truck and trailer on the streets, no rules. And he also has 2 entrances. He has an entrance for Broadway and an entrance for Hutchins. His vehicles, he's told his people not to park the vehicles on the what would be a sidewalk if it was there. Keep on the lot. So there's plenty of room down there for that business to take care of. We would like to see somebody in there long term. He wants to talk about a 5-year lease. We'd like to see that so we don't have this turnover all the time. But nobody is complaining but one person that lives 7 blocks away. And I'd like the council to, again, no disrespect to the Planning Commission, they have a job to do. But in this situation, I think, like I say, there's an imbalance. If you can have X amount of cars to work on, no amount of cars to work on, except what you can cram in there, and then limit them to 10 cars to sell. And he's willing to compromise that. I think that's the right step forward, because I don't agree with 20 cars either. I just think it would be really too busy, and especially if you have 1 or 2 cars to work on. But getting down to 10 cars, 12 cars, whatever, I think is a doable situation. So I would ask the council tomorrow night, I can't make tomorrow night, but I would like to have you vote no for the recommendation to deny him a permit. Because again, we need a business in there and something's gonna stay there for a while. So thank you for your time, gentlemen, ladies.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak on an agenda item this evening?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. I stand before you again, Julia Alexander, 14 Rowell Avenue, Joliet, Illinois. I stand before you again, asking for your vote, yes, on an honorary street name for Miss Denise Winfrey. I know that many of you, if not all of you, know Denise Winfrey and the work that she has done within the county as well as the city. Denise has always worked to impact the lives of all citizens within Will County and the city of Joliet through her works on the Will County Board and other local boards and organizations. She has been a member of the Will County Board since 2009 and was the first African-American woman to hold the position of Speaker of the Will County Board. She has also served as the president of NACOR, the National Association for Counties, in 2022. And she was the second woman of color to hold that position. Denise has always taken the time to give back to the community through speaking at events, supporting and promoting education, and through her involvement in local government. And we all know as well, Denise is played a big part in us keeping our county building here, having Joliet as our county seat, as well as the Hobolt Road Bridge. And I can give a list of her accomplishments, what she's done, and it would take me more than that 4 minutes. So I'm asking for your vote yes on the street name for Denise Winfrey. This street is Mott Street. The reason why I chose Mott Street is because Denise capacity is in the county, but she also works in tandem with the city. Mott Street is a street that connects the county and the city together. On the east end of Mott, it is Neal Street, which is the county. And on the other end of Mott, it is Richard Street, which is the city. And because she works in both capacities, I thought Mott Street would be the perfect street to combine her works together between the city and the county. Thank you. I beg you for your vote. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Eric Prechtel. I'm an attorney with Rosanova and Whitaker. I am here on behalf of Lennar Corporation and their petition for a PUD in the Lakewood Prairie subdivision. I just wanted to introduce the team prior to being heard later on this evening. So here with me is Todd Clevin. He's Director of Land Acquisition for Lennar, and also is Madeline Warman. She is an engineer with Mackey Consulting. And then finally, Vince Rosanova, also with Rosanova and Whitaker. So with that, we look forward to hearing from you later on, and we're happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else that would like to speak on an agenda item this evening? Seeing none, next we'll have the city manager review tomorrow's actionable items.
Okay, first we have Council Memo 66123, the award of a contract for the 921 East Washington Street Site Improvements Project to PT Farrow Construction Company in the amount of $198,365.75. The Public Service Committee, chaired by Councilman Hug, recommended approval on December 4th. Over the past 2 years, the Department of Public Utilities has acquired 2 parcels located adjacent to its water and sewer field operations facility located at 921 East Washington Street. The old building foundations need to be removed, the sites cleared and leveled, gravel placed for parking, and fencing installed to allow parcels to be useful. Questions? Okay, moving on. Council members, Memo 66223, award of a contract for drinking water quality compliance analytical testing services to Suburban Laboratories, Inc. in the amount of $30,680. This passed the Public Service Committee on December 4th, chaired by Councilman Hug. Joliet Public Water Supply is required to meet Environmental Protection Agency safe drinking water standards. Many of those standards require testing that the city lab does not have the equipment for or is certified to complete. Next, we have Council Memo 66323, award of job order, the job order contracting agreement for the Public Utilities Supervisory Control and Data Acquisition System Maintenance Service Agreement to Wunderlich Malik Environmental in the amount of $40,000. The Public Service Committee recommended approval on December 4th, chaired by Councilman Hug. Public Utilities Department utilizes 5 SCADA systems comprised of multiple control systems to operate and monitor critical city facilities. When the city upgraded these systems, it standardized on hardware and the system integrator, Wunderlich Malik Environmental. Wunderlich Malik Environmental has provided a proposal in an amount not to exceed $40,000 to be used on a time and material basis as needed for SCADA maintenance in 2024. Council Memo 66423, the award of a contract for the 2024 motor fuel purchase to Al Warren Oil Company, Inc. in the amount of $1,300,065. The city of Joliet purchases approximately 350,000 gallons of unleaded gasoline and approximately 175,000 gallons of diesel a year. A fixed price contract was chosen due to fluctuating prices in the market. Council Memo 66523, purchase of 8 self-contained breathing apparatus SCBA packs for the Joliet Fire Department from Municipal Emergency Services in the amount of $52,720. All fire department vehicles require self-contained breathing apparatus packs to meet the NFPA standard. 8 vehicles do not meet this standard, and so Municipal Emergency Services is the only manufacturer of these packs. All vehicles must have the same packs. Council Memo 66623, purchase of 4 MTS power loaders for the Joliet Fire Department from the Stryker Medical in the amount of $55,387.52. Public Safety Committee recommended approval on December 5th, chaired by Councilwoman Quillman. The Fire Department EMS Division is planning on utilizing MTS power loaders for ambulances. Power loaders assist in loading cots into ambulances while patients are on them. Foreign fire tax will split this purchase with the fire department. The city will be responsible for $55,387.52. Foreign fire tax will pay the balance. Council Memo 66723, the purchase of LifePak CR2 defibrillators for the Joliet Fire Department from Stryker Medical in the amount of $35,577.54. Fire Department EMS Division uses LifePak CR2 defibrillator devices for emergency calls. These devices are semi-automatic, Wi-Fi with carrying cases and battery, and come with an 8-year warranty. Stryker Medical is the only provider, and the quote is for 18 devices. Council Memo 66823, purchase of Knox boxes for City of Joliet businesses from Knox Company in the amount of $46,831. Fire Department requires Knox boxes for businesses to keep keys secure. The key is used to enter businesses to access the equipment in the event of a fire call. The current Knox boxes are outdated and can no longer be repaired. Council Memo 66923, sole source purchase of drive test scanner systems upgrade, 5G, FR1 scanner and associated hardware for the Joliet Police Department Investigations Division. The police department uses the drive test scanner system to record the strength and quality of cell phone signals. This helps in investigations which involve locating or identifying the location of individuals. Purchasing this equipment will aid officers who use cell phone data as part of an investigation. Purchase price is $56,200. Council Memo 670-23, authorization to approve the proposed renewal of group health, dental, vision, and life insurance programs. Passed by the Finance Committee on 12/19, chaired by Councilman Mudron. The city's health benefit insurance package is due for renewal for the January 1st, 2024 through December 31st, 2024 plan year. This is the city's 28th renewal of the preferred provider option PPO plan, passive PPO dental plan, and vision benefit administered by Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois. Council Member Memo 67123, change order number 1 for the Eastern Avenue, Washington Street roadway project, MFT section number 21-00535-00-FP to Austin Tyler Construction, Inc. in the amount of $15,187.70. On August 17th, 2021, the mayor and the city council awarded the Eastern Avenue, Washington Street roadway project in the amount of $588,058.66 to Austin Tyler Construction, Inc. This change order number 1 is a net deduction in the amount of $15,187.70. It is the result of balancing of water main items completed and replacing additional sidewalk and brick pavers damaged by parkway trees on Eastern Avenue. Council Memo 67223, change order number 1 for the 2023 biosolids disposal contract to New Era Spreading Inc. in the amount of $256,077.17. On January 17th, 2023, the mayor and the city council authorized the award of a contract in the amount of $1,535,100 to New Era Spreading Inc. for the 2023 biosolids disposal program. In 2023, the volume of sludge disposed of was more than estimated in the contract. Change order number 1 is a net increase of $256,077.17. The scope of this change order is to dispose of additional biosolids at the unit prices in the contract. Council Memo 67323, change order number 3 for the Black Road Lift Station Modifications Project to Williams Brothers Construction, Inc. in the amount of $56,180.17. On May 17th, 2022, the mayor and the city council awarded a contract to Williams Brothers Construction in the amount of approximately $2 million for the Black Road Lift Station modifications. During the project, there were additional items and/or quantities needed to complete the project. Williams Brothers Construction, Inc. submitted a proposal in the amount of $56,180.17 to provide the necessary material and labor to complete the tasks. Just keep going. Anyone have any questions on the consent agenda, or can I proceed with agenda items? Okay, just want to check. Okay, Council Memo 67523, authorization to fund pre-development loan draw 7 to Riverwalk Homes LLC in the amount of $341,502.30. The City of Joliet is required by a court-approved settlement to redevelop Riverwalk Homes and has created Riverwalk Homes LLC. As part of the project, the city has approved a pre-development loan of up to $2 million to Riverwalk Homes LLC. To date, there have been 6 draws totaling $82,694.79 against the loan. This item is for draw number 7, totaling $341,502.30. Council Memo 67623, award of contract for the 2024 sanitary sewer rehabilitation program, Bridal Wreath Acres, Stonegate, Black Road Acres, and Bevan Acres to National Power Rotting Corporation in the amount of $2,428,331.50. The IEPA has stipulated in the city's NPDES permits for the city's wastewater treatment plants that a capacity management operations and maintenance plan be prepared. The priority project areas to be completed in year 7 of the rehabilitation program are Bridalwood Acres, Stonegate, Black Road Acres, and Bevan Acres. The primary goal of the sewer rehabilitation work is to reduce inflow and infiltration and eliminate root balls that can result in basement backups, and construction is anticipated to begin in February of 2024. It's scheduled to be completed by December of 2024. Council Memo 67723, the award of a contract for the 2023 roadways resurfacing contract, CMFT, section number 23-00561-00-RS to PT Farrow Construction Company in the amount of $2,963,000 $2,963,546.94. The mayor and the city council previously approved the 2023 City of Joliet budget. The 2023 roadways resurfacing contract C is part of this budget. That's it. Okay, council memo 67823, award of contract for the 2023 roadways resurfacing contract D to PT Farrow Construction Company in the amount of $3,211,812.92. The mayor and the city council previously approved the 2023 City of Joliet budget. The 2023 roadways resurfacing contract D is part of that budget. We don't have any license and permit applications or public hearings. Ordinances and resolutions. Council memo 68023, ordinance approving a special use permit to allow construction of a new automatic car wash located at 1351 Route 59. The Zoning Board of Appeals unanimously approved this in November. The petitioner, TWAS Properties LLC, is requesting a special use permit to allow the construction of a new automatic car wash for the Tidal Wave Auto Spa at 1351 Route 59. The property is zoned B3, General Business District, and is currently underdeveloped. Per the City of Joliet zoning ordinance, car washes may be allowed as special uses within the B3 zoning district. Tidal Wave Auto Spa is a conveyor car wash company with over 180 locations throughout the United States. Council memo 68123, ordinance amending the 2023 budget for the 2 new fire engine purchases. The 2023 city budget contains a provision for 1 new fire engine to be funded in the budget, and the 5-year forecast for apparatus replacement has a duplicate fire engine plan for calendar year 2024. Sufficient funds are available. The Joliet Fire Department and Fleet Services are requesting a budget amendment not to exceed $200,000 to cover the additional costs associated with the build. Council memo 68223, ordinance adopting street opening and pavement restoration regulations. The Departments of Public Works and Public Utilities currently coordinate proposed infrastructure projects to minimize future disturbances to newly paved roadways. The proposed ordinance imposes additional paving requirements on utility work during roadway restoration. Council memo 683-23, ordinance adopting a parking lot lighting restrictions. The City of Joliet Public Works staff reviews plans for lighting installations as a part of development, parking lot expansion, and various other applications. The purpose of this ordinance is to codify regulations regarding light pollution to those that have been previously adopted by the City Council, specifically for the IT zoning district. Council memo 68423, ordinance of the City of Joliet, Illinois, providing for the redemption of a portion of the city's general obligation bond series 202B and the abatement of a portion of the taxes levied for the payment thereof. The City of Joliet issued general obligation bonds to provide a funding for the remodel project at the library. The library was awarded a grant for the project, but did not have the cash flow in the fund for the project and the funds for the project, and couldn't wait for the grant for the reimbursements. So the library has received 90% of the grant funds from the state. This ordinance allows us to pay approximately 5 million of the bonds early. Council memo 68523, ordinance approving a preliminary planned unit development of Lakewood Prairie Subdivision Unit 4, PUD-9-23. The petitioner, Cal Atlantic Group LLC, Leonard Holmes, is requesting approval of a preliminary planned unit development plat of Lakewood Prairie Subdivision Unit 4, which would contain 180 dwelling units within 33 townhome buildings. The subject property was annexed into the city and zoned to its current zoning designation of R4, low-density multifamily residential zoning in December of 2003. These units will be sold at market rate. Council Memo 68623, ordinances associated with the Cherry Hill Business Park West Unit 6 subdivision Phase 2. The petitioner, Northern Builders, is requesting approval of the final and recording plats of Cherry Hill Business Park West Unit 6 subdivision Phase 2. The approval will plat the remaining lots from the previously approved preliminary plat and will permit the future development of a cold storage facility on Lot 3. The subject property is zoned for I-1, light industrial use, and the proposed cold storage facility use on Lot 3 is allowed as of right within this zone. Moving on, Council Memo 68723, ordinance amending the 2023 annual budget for the purchase of fuel in the amount of $300,000. The Fleet Services Department is requesting a budget amendment of $300,000 to cover the expected fuel usage for the remainder of the year. The budget in 2023 was underfunded, and that's why the Fleet Services Department is requesting the additional $300,000. Council Memo 68823, ordinance declaring the city of Joliet exempt from the Illinois Paid Leave for All Workers Act. The state of Illinois has enacted, effective the first of the year, the Paid Leave for All Workers Act. This legislation mandates that all employees grant a minimum of 40 hours of paid leave for all employees, but is silent as to how paid leave must be administered and regulated by employers. The city currently has several collective bargaining agreements with covered employees, as well as exempt employee ordinance that covers those who are not provided paid time off in excess of 40 hours. The city of Joliet also has policies and procedures in place which regulate the administration of paid time off. Therefore, we do not need the state of Illinois to provide a separate time frame or framework through which to administer paid time off for all city employees. This will be an exemption under Home Rule Authority. Council Memo 68923, ordinance amending Chapter 4, Article 6, Tobacco Regulations Ordinance of the City of Joliet, of ordinances adding endorsement requirement, location restriction, and amending fee structure. There's growing concern over the public health risks associated with the use of alternative nicotine products, vaping, especially by people under 18 years of age. The mayor, in his capacity as the Tobacco Control Commissioner, has prioritized enforcement of violations of the tobacco code regarding the sale of alternative nicotine products, vapes, to persons under the age of 21. The proposed amendments create a new classification of tobacco licenses, which would require an endorsement to sell vape products, raises fees associated with a tobacco license, and places restrictions on the location of and the transfer of tobacco licenses. One of the restrictions is that one vape shop can't be within a half a mile of another vape store. Resolutions, Council Memo 69123, supplemental resolution appropriating motor fuel tax funds for the Eastern Avenue Washington Street roadway project, MFT section number 21-00535-00-FP. The Eastern Avenue Washington Street roadway project is partly funded with motor fuel tax funds. A portion of the funding for change order number 1 will come from the motor fuel tax MFT funds. Change order is needed due to unforeseen additional work. Since the motor fuel tax funds are used for this project, the state of Illinois requires that the mayor and the city council approve an MFT resolution. Council Memo 69223, resolution appropriating motor fuel tax funds for the 2023 roadways resurfacing contract C, MFT section number 23-00561-00.RS in the amount of $2,963,546.94. The 2023 roadways resurfacing contract C includes resurfacing projects on various streets throughout the city and is funded by motor fuel tax funds. Funding for this project will come from the motor fuel tax MFT funds. The state of Illinois requires the mayor and the city council to approve an MFT resolution. Council Memo 69323, resolution accepting the assignment, and assumption of grant of public water line easement agreement for the Rock Run Collection off-site water mains. To serve the Rock Run Collection Development, formerly known as Rock Run Crossings, Cullinan was required to construct 2 public water mains across Rock Run Creek. The land is not owned by Cullinan and therefore was not part of the PUD plat. To expedite the construction process, Cullinan Joliet LLC initially accepted easements from the 3 off-site property owners in 2022. The easements need to be transferred to the city of Joliet for permanent maintenance access. The accepting grant of easements are for future water mains. Council Memo 69423, resolution approving an agreement for use of right-of-way between the city of Joliet and Vero Fiber Networks. Vero Fiber Networks provides fiber optic-based broadband services focusing on educational institutions such as schools and libraries. The city is in receipt of several requests from Vero to service schools located within city limits. An agreement will be required between the city and Vero in order to allow the installation of Vero facilities within the city right-of-way. Council Memo 695-23, resolution approving an honorary street name Denise Winfrey Way for Maud Avenue between South Richard Street and Neal Avenue. Based on information provided by the applicant, Julia Alexander, Denise Winfrey has always worked to impact the lives of all citizens within Will County and the city of Joliet through her work on the Will County Board and other local boards and organizations. The petition for the honorary street name application is attached with approximately 50% of the adjoining property owners signing the approval for the honorary street name designation. Ms. Winfrey resides along this block of East Maud Avenue, which meets the requirement for a geographic relationship to this designated street. Council Memo 69623, resolution approving a highway authority agreement between the city of Joliet and St. Sebastian Investment LLC for the property located at 1160 West Jefferson Street. Groundwater beneath and near the property is contaminated by a leaking underground storage tank, which exceeds the IEPA TACO tiered approach to corrective outcomes, Tier 1 remediation objectives. A portion of the contamination has migrated into the city right-of-way adjacent to the site. The owner of the property, San Sebastian Investment LLC, has prepared a corrective action plan which has been approved by the Illinois Environmental Protection Agency. Council Memo 69723, resolution denying a special use permit to allow a used car dealership located at 1101 North Broadway Street. Zoning Board voted to deny the special use 3-1 in November. Mr. Abram Garcia, property owner, requests approval of the special use permit so that the future tenant can sell used cars that have been repaired on site or elsewhere. Public Works Department and Planning Division do not support any of these site plan options and maintain that the property is too small for the number of vehicles proposed, given that the property was designated to function as a circa 1930s filling station. Since 2021, the property has been used for vehicle repair, which was previously approved under the variation of use that was issued in 1983. Council Memo 69823, resolution approving interim water supply agreement between the city of Joliet and the village of Rockdale. The village of Rockdale has determined that its existing wells cannot produce sufficient groundwater supply to meet the needs of its customers without additional improvements and would like to purchase groundwater from Joliet. Rockdale is evaluating alternative water supply sources for long-term water supply for its customers. One of the alternatives is purchasing from Joliet. This agreement provides the option for Rockdale to purchase water from Joliet. Council Memo 69923, resolution authorizing the release of closed session minutes. The Open Meetings Act 5 ILCS 120-1 requires municipalities to review the minutes of closed sessions and make available for public inspection those minutes that no longer require confidential treatment. There exists a need to maintain the confidentiality of the minutes of all other closed sessions. The mayor and the city council also hereby find and determine that there exists a continuing need to protect the confidentiality of the verbatim record of all closed sessions, whether or not the minutes thereof are released.
Next is public comments. Amy Gallo.
Good evening, Your Honor. Good evening, Council. Amy Gallo. I came on December 4th and spoke a little bit about what I was petitioning in for the frontage road regarding my 20-year-old son that passed away in the tragic motorcycle accident. When you guys came back on December 5th, it wasn't brought up. So I'm back again today to see if there was any progress made. I haven't got a phone call. So here I am again, going to petition it again, and I'm not going to stop. I'll be here every day. Every time I get to see you guys will get to see me. Something has to be done with the frontage road, from Black Road, the whole frontage road. And I'm here to save lives. I'm not here just because it was my son. But there's the baseball field right there where a car was just flipped over while kids were playing. There's the Union Hall that just opened up right there. If cars don't slow down, it's not going to be a good thing. And just in case, if anyone wasn't here when I spoke, it was a tragic accident. 2 lives were taken. Not saying either party was at fault. That's why it's called a tragic accident. There's supposed to be a speed limit sign. It's an interstate. There's no stoplights, no stop signs, no speed bumps. Something has to be done, and if the city is not going to help me, I will go door to door and collect my own money and hand it to you guys for something to be done on that frontage road. I don't want this to happen to anybody else. And if I have to be back here tomorrow to try to get an update, I'll do that as well.
We will have some information. We do have some information for you that, do we want to share it tonight or want to share it tomorrow?
I can talk to it tonight. So we haven't completed a study, but we have looked at the corridor, including the intersection of Theodore Street. There's a total of 9 intersections with the frontage road along that corridor, excluding Black Road and Caden Farm Road. Those are a little bit different in nature. But looking at those 9 intersections, we pulled crash reports over the last 5 years. And there have been a total of 13 crash reports at the 4 intersections. Out of the 9, we're not seeing a pattern just yet, but again, we're still doing preliminary studies. We need to do traffic counts out there as well. It appears speeding is involved in a few of these, but the majority of what we've seen so far are unrelated to speeding. What we've got in crash reports, there's a couple of instances of people heading westbound and driving through stop signs and hitting the sound wall along the interstate. And I think there was a police chase involved in one of these. So we're still looking at it. I don't have an answer for Ms. Gallo yet. We'll continue to review it and report back to the council as well.
Can I say something?
Yeah, real quick, there are some requirements that we're under. We have to follow federal guidelines, I think it was, that
Yeah,
they
there are
have a...
warrants for stop control. There's something called the Manual on Uniform Traffic Control Devices. That's a Federal Highway Administration document that is put out so that there can be some guidance for the installation of traffic control. We don't want to get into a situation where we put up traffic control and it causes unintended consequences, like people disobeying a stop sign or a traffic signal because they don't see traffic on the opposing street, and then you can have potentially other issues where people are rolling stop signs and accidents occur that way. So again, we're still in the midst of our review here. I don't have an answer yet, but we are still reviewing it.
Can I ask a question? So from Black Road, because I lived in that neighborhood for 40 years, from Black Road all the way to Theodore, Black Road and Theodore, those intersections are the most relevant because those are where people are coming into this frontage road. Once you're on frontage road, there's the baseball park, there is a animal hospital, there's a bunch of union halls, and many entrances and exits to subdivisions between these two roads. There is absolutely no stop at all. So that traffic goes from one intersection all the way around, and we called it Dead Man's Curve. It's very dangerous. The fact that there's not one stop in between those two ends, or that the traffic coming off of those two particular ends isn't relevant to this situation, I question that, because those are the biggest intersections. The rest is each entrance and exits to the subdivision, couple of union halls, a ballpark. So why wouldn't those ends be considered?
Well, those are stop controlled. There's, traffic, well, there's a traffic signal at the south end, there's a stop sign at the north end. They're a little bit different in nature than the north-south corridor, and that's why we kind of excluded them. We can include them, but traffic is stopping at those locations, and, you know, there's, quite a bit of east-west traffic on both Caton Farm and Black Road, so, there is a built-in nature of traffic not speeding there. The frontage road is signed for 35 miles per hour. I don't know if that's being obeyed. I think it's probably highly unlikely it's being obeyed. And just a statement about traffic control in general, stop signs and traffic signals. If you look at the MUTCD, which is the Manual on Uniform Traffic Control Devices, the stop signs and traffic signals are really right-of-way access devices. So it's to allow vehicles a proper right-of-way. You know, it stops so another vehicle can get out type of thing. And they're not really designed to be used as speed control. That's not to say that they don't do that at those specific locations, but, you know, mid-block, they don't really have that desired effect. But again, we're still looking at this. I don't want to give you any.
And I would also suggest, if it is at all possible, that someone from city staff in the middle of the day, go drive out on that road and see how dangerous it is. Thank you.
I have one more question. Greg, I don't even know if this is a possibility, especially out on the frontage road, or if we utilize, do we do roundabouts?
We don't really have roundabouts in the city. That's not that we're opposed to them. We've got some traffic circles at like subdivision entrances. There's one by University of St. Francis. True roundabout is in place of a stop sign or a traffic signal, and it really avoids the T-bone collision if something occurs there. It's a side swipe. At this particular location, I don't know if it would be feasible because there's a larger right-of-way requirement for those, and with the interstate on the west side and the properties on the east side, it would be difficult. I know IDOT has looked at them in a couple locations. Currently, they're looking at one just outside like city limits in Shorewood at County Line Road and 52. We've also discussed one at the southern portion of the city on Route 52 at Mills Road. I don't think it would work at this particular location.
Yeah, well, I was thinking about you, truly. I was on a trip last week, and it seems to be Colorado's favorite form of, you know, movement of traffic, and I thought it works beautifully. It slows everybody down to a point where you can, you know, and I see what you're saying, you'd be a side swipe, but at least it'd be a side swipe and not a, you know, head-on collision type thing. So that's why I wanted to bring it up.
Popular in the East Coast. Colorado is another place that's adopted them. You're going to start seeing them more and more in Illinois as well. As you see like the diverging diamond interchanges, those are more popular. The roundabouts, you're going to start seeing more and more of them here as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. So one last thing I gotta say is also, there's bus stops right there down that whole frontage road with all ages of kids, from kindergarten all the way through high school. And that's dangerous. All they gotta do is not listen to a mom or a dad, and they're gone too. And then when I was here on December 4th speaking, I read a paragraph about a citizen that wrote underneath the tragic accident that I had no idea who she was. I found her, and here she is.
Good evening, Council and Mayor. My name is Christine Nordstrom. I'm a small business owner in the city center, as well as having lived in the Longleat subdivision for the last 10 years. I was reached out by Amy this last weekend, and I had wrote that post because I was woken up in the middle of the night. It was about 11:15, and it sounded like a car hit our house. This is when her son passed away and the other passenger passed away. The entire back of my house, not just this time, but several times throughout this last decade, have been lit up with fire departments, ambulances, police cars. I have witnessed probably 10 accidents in the last decade just on the frontage road behind my house. This 2 years ago in the spring, a Tesla flipped over in the ballpark area while kids were playing. It's a very dangerous road. Not only that, Black Road and frontage road, that light there is horrifying for accidents. And I absolutely think that that needs to be looked at too. Trying to get across on Black Road on the frontage road, there is no left turn signals. There is accidents there constantly, and that proceeds to go onto the frontage road. That frontage road is a death trap, so is that corner. So once you get through the corner, you proceed down what you call the death trap or the death curve. And in the middle of the night, my husband is here also, we have captured speeds at 85 miles per hour on the frontage road. So it's absolutely ridiculous. There's bus stops. There is a ballpark where I think there's 3 or 4 fields on that ballpark. There is just a horrifying amount of accidents that could happen, and we need to change that. The frontage road and that corner, it needs to stop because we're gonna have more lives lost. Not just her son and the other person who passed away that night, but many more. It's very dangerous and it really needs to be looked at. And not only that, I'm scared because my house backs up to the frontage road and we've had people hit our fence. So they could come through my fence into my house. So it's very scary and it definitely needs to be addressed for her sake and for every other mother out there that has a child going to those bus stops, playing in those baseball fields. This needs to be looked at and addressed. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak under public comments this evening?
Good evening. You know, me, Kathy Garthis, who lives on 23656 South Better Road. My thing, I am like issuing a complaint against Whimsy Joliet LLC trucking facility. As you know, last year, they got their approval by city council to put this trucking terminal next to my land, next to my mother's place, which I wanted it so badly to be here for the city council meeting before, but nobody wanted to tell me when it went before city council to be voted on. But they got their approval. But now since then, they have, of course, bought my mother's place. And since I bought my mother's place now, I have just been like tormented by them, I should say, and everything. And with them buying my mother's place, they went ahead and had my cars, made my brother steal my cars that I had. They were antique cars. They were my pride and joys. They were my very first cars I bought with my own money. They were stolen off the property and sent to the crushers to be crushed. And I also had an incident a week and a half ago to where my LP tank was leaking. My LP tank was full. It was full all summer. All of a sudden now, then my LP tank, my neighbor was over here helping me, and we noticed that my LP tank was leaking. I had to call the LP guy out to get him to turn out the screws were loosened up on the gauge on it. And I said, how does this happen? And it's like, this really doesn't really happen. Somebody had to loosen them up. And was prior to that, I seen tracks in my backyard. They came in the backyard, you know, what Whimsy has been repeatedly, almost on daily basis, taking their gator cart from this construction site that they're doing next door. The Whimsy employees are there, you know, monitoring the construction, and they just keep taking this gator around the property, just like terrorizing me. I've had it to where I've had people looking in my window this past summer, peeping toms, as we call it, looking right in my bedroom window at me. And just the other day, I was going to leave, and there's another guy sitting there with a pickup truck facing me. I back out of the driveway, I seen him, I pull back in, I heard him turn my camera on, my cell phone on, and next thing you know, he heard some skedaddles, because he seen that I was watching him. I seen that he was watching me, you know, but these guys have went ahead, They have been lying to me all along on things in here. They denied it. They didn't want to buy my mother's place here when all along they were the ones buying my mother's place. And now they just recently just went ahead and had me evicted, court order on me to get me evicted from the place. So in January, I will be evicted from the place because of this. These guys didn't even have the guts to really do it the deceiving way of, they supposedly came to the house to serve the papers, and I did not see anybody or hear anybody take me to serve me papers. So they then publish in the Herald newspaper. Well, they know I ain't got the Herald newspaper. I do not get the Herald newspaper. So because of that, they went ahead and got to get their court order to have me evicted. You know, they didn't have the guts to do it the good way, have the Will County Sheriff do it to where the note would have been posted on my front door or in my mailbox, to where I would have known. But because of Whimsy Trucking getting approved last year to get their trucking terminal next door, you know, it's only led to the downfall of me. Because if they never came to the area, they wouldn't have been wanting to buy my mother's place, which they lied to me. They said they weren't gonna buy it and they weren't interested in it, but it turned out they were doing it because they used their attorney they hired my, they used their attorney and, hired my brother. They basically used my brother to become the executor so they could buy the place really cheap. I had no right.
Anyone else that would like to speak this evening?
Hello, my name is Craig Nelson. I'm Chief Operating Officer of WashU LLC. I may be out of order, Mr. Mayor, council members. Just wanted to bring to your attention on the agenda for the tidal wave car wash that's being proposed on Route 59. We recently invested in a car wash at 1801 South Route 59, the former NASCAR car wash. We'll have about $5 million invested in that car wash when we reopen it in January. There's a car wash on Theodore and Drawden owned by Len McHenry called Gas and Wash. There's also another wash less than 2 miles away. While I'm a capitalist and believe in competition, there's also a limit to the number of car washes you can have in any given area. We think there's probably a higher and better use for that pad site in front of the Walmart. And the only thing that we would like to say is we'd like you to consider that there's a higher and better use for that property other than another car wash within a 1 mile radius of 2 other car washes and 3 within a 2 mile radius. Thank you.
Anyone else? I did receive a request for closed session this evening. Is there a motion to go into closed session to discuss personnel, collective bargaining, land acquisition, or conveyance pending or threat and litigation, after which the meeting will adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Cardenas? Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilwoman Ibarra?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Mayor Darcy?
Aye.
Motion carried.